And just to make sure that I do have your attention, okay? So when I say 1, you're gonna clap once. When I say 2, you clap 2 times. When I say 3, you clap 3 times. Are we ready? Okay, 1, 2, 3. Good morning.
Good morning.
That's better. My name is Sam. I am the director of an organization called Brand Joburg. And I'm really excited to see a number of these initiatives that we're going to be rolling out, I think, over the next few months with you. I'll get into details about some of the programs that are coming up, but for today, very, very excited. Why are we having these conversations? I think for me, the biggest thing is how do we bridge the gap between a business school like this one and what's actually taking place in the entrepreneurship world. That's what we want to do. And today, of course, I'm joined by Talifhani Banks.
Thank you.
Good morning, sir.
I'm good, brother. Going through it.
Tell me about that. I understand you've been here before.
Yes, I've been here.
And what do you think about the institution? What is the nature of it?
I think it's a business school. It's a business-driven school. Yeah, so they're trying to bring practicality of entrepreneurship. Let's be fair, academic schools do not go deeper into entrepreneurship, and you graduate in business school and you still do not understand what business is, or you've got a business administration degree and still don't know how to apply it. But I think what they're trying to do here is to give you practicality of it and give you steps on how you can start your own. Maybe one day you're going to run one of the biggest companies. It starts here.
And I really do want to encourage you to take advantage of these conversations. As a country, a continent, there is really so much that perhaps, let's say, the state, the government can do.
Yeah.
The true solutions, the ones that are really sustainable and long-lasting, get to come from builders and innovators like yourself.
Yeah.
So if you are in the audience and you are a student, we really want you to take advantage of these conversations and opportunities we present to you and start thinking about, if you want to start a business, how do you go about it? Where do you start? What resources do you need? And think more than just as a student. So I'm grateful that that's where we're starting. I wanted to start a little bit different compared to the other conversations we've had.
Yeah.
You have been in entrepreneurship for quite some time. I think you're getting close to a decade. If not more, I think that's after you left Pick and Pay.
Yeah.
What's your why? What gets you out of bed every morning?
Good question. I wish the guys they know me.
Absolutely. Let's start with an introduction.
Okay, so I run a company called AnalyticsX. It's a tech company. We're a data technology company. We mine data, we migrate data, we analyze data, we build softwares, and we have performed this on numerous times to now we are a medium enterprise, and I've become a top entrepreneur on bricks because of that company. But now we've been building for the past 2 years a new startup called Spaza Eats, which is a food delivery e-commerce platform that is growing in the country, and we plan to expand it continentally. And it's running on an e-commerce and fintech. That's my background, and that's where I'm coming from. My why is it's coupled with a lot of roots.
Let's break it apart.
When I'm coming from Louis Trichardt, my mother used to have a Spaza shop, and I used to help her run that Spaza shop. My dream in the future was to help her multiply it, to build a corporate of that. Coming into university, when I was at University of Pretoria, I used to be inspired by Steve Jobs. He's the tech guys. These guys, how did they build the Macintosh? How did they build from nothing, from a garage to one of the most recognized tech company? And that's what I learned from him, and I wanted to bring that. When I was in corporate, I worked for Massmart, I worked for Pick and Pay, and my last job I was working for AutoZone. I was reporting the CEO of AutoZone. And working with the CEO, top level thinking, 240 stores, I was like, how does this guy think and how do you manage? I would like to play that. So now I combine all of that roots. But my biggest why internally is that I feel like people in Africa, they don't know. And now that I've traveled, I've seen it, I feel like we've been psyoped to operate on a minimum. while other economies operate on their highest level of consciousness. And they use religion to psyop us to think only minimal. I want it to be a representation of you can come from nothing and build one of the most sustainable businesses that is recognized on a global level. That's what drives me.
On the days that things are not going as well as you think they should, I mean, entrepreneurship is very difficult.
Yeah.
And I think any entrepreneur in the room can attest to this. What's the thing that keeps you getting out of bed, that really keeps you pushing? As much as things may not be going that well in some of your businesses, every entrepreneur, every business goes through those particular challenges.
I go through it worse now that we've got a startup, Spaza Eats, I've presented it on a large scale now, it's on the ground. I go through that, and now that we're managing a lot of transactions, we are a bank now, Spaza Eats, by the way. So we are operating a lot of transactions per day. And I didn't know when I started that we need money ourselves to keep running this transaction. Imagine a bank that you withdraw and there's no money. So people withdraw every day. Every day. Like now as I speak, probably 10,000 transactions. So now I need to, that type of stress that I have now. So what wakes me up is that I do not want to fail the future innovator to that. How did you stop when you were almost? I mean, I'm almost a billionaire in transactions and valuation. How did you stop and fail the next generation of entrepreneurs? Let me just push it forward. Maybe I should stop on $1 billion somewhere. And maybe when I'm $1 billion, I'll dream more. But now I'm just almost to show the black entrepreneur you can build nothing and take it to $1 billion valuation.
So Spaza Eats it has a number of let's say divisions.
Yeah.
You now have Spaza Pay, you're distributing POS systems.
Yes.
Just talk to us about that structure. But first, the background of the company for those that may not know.
For Spaza Eats.
For Spaza Eats, what was the vision?
Yeah. So when I became top entrepreneur, I was in Russia, and I was competing with some of the guys that are really solving their continent's problems. And I remember the time when I came back, I was saying there are guys who are producing C cars. Now you see C cars in Dubai, you see them guys rolling. If you haven't seen them, you're gonna see them. Those are the guys that I was sitting with, and they were already raising billions on that seat. The reason why I won was that I already built solutions that were already being used in a global level. But I learned there that I need to solve my continent's problem. And then I went to the AU, African Union, when I was in Ethiopia. This is like 2022. And I'm sitting there with directors and we're talking. And one of the ladies I was with, she's like, so how do you think you're gonna distribute the AFCFTA, the African Continental Free Trade? It's like, to be honest, we don't know. And I was in there. And it just hit me that you need to use technology to intercontinental trade. And at the time, I came with the idea of we're going to use a company called Jamii Trade. Jamii is a Swahili name, meaning that a community of traders. We're going to build this platform that integrates traders. But as we were drilling deeper to that type of company, we realized that you're going to need billions to market this thing. So it might not work. And I'm highly ambitious, so my arrogance will be destroyed. So I want to study ways possible where it can be done, and I need to use a commercialization name that it's easy to know. And to make it simple, across the continent, Soweto is the same as Botswana, Gaborone is the same as Kigali is the same as Kinshasa is the same as in Addis Ababa. It's the same communities. They just have different presentation, but it's the same people, same approach, local. So I said, we need to build a localized product. I do not care if people in that community only see it for what it is there, right? But we will multiply. We need to build a continental trade platform, but let's localize it by area. And let's call it a name that's easy to know. We call it Spaza Eats. And also when you launch it, if you launch it with Spaza Eats, you can call it Spaza Trade or whatever, you launch it with clothes, you launch it with people selling this, it might not hit because people here, they still worship international companies without knowing. That's why you find a local brand that sells shoes and which is still wear Nike. It's because people still just, So I said, let's start with, there is no branding in it. Let's start with food. And Africans, if you come to my house, you can't go without eating food. That's what it is. Everyone in the continent welcomes you with food, smiles, and whatnot. That's where we connect. So I said, let's start with food, and we can grow it to other things. So we started there. We integrate thousands of SMEs, multiply them, and things like that. Now we're adding other categories, SMEs, GMD. You can buy a cell phone, iPhone on Spaza. You can now, it's going to a point where you're going to be able to find local fashion and local craftsmanship. And maybe we might change the name in the future, but right now Spaza Eats is working and it's commercialized.
I was actually going to ask you about that. How long are you going to keep Spaza Eats for? Because now you really have a number of things that you're now doing, from the Spaza Pay, you're doing
Yes.
Fresh produce as well.
Yes.
You're now doing fashion, you're doing electronics.
So I get that, and that I've thought about multiple times. Even we take a lot of walks and planning. What we need to know, bottom line, is that Spaza Eats, when you hear Spaza Eats, you just think of a normal name that is a normal business that makes 30,000 or 30 rand, and I'm happy with that. But in the back end is an engine. We're a bank. So I'm running fintech, we're running the e-commerce, and we are also localized by communities. Also, we own the township name, which means that if we go to Gaborone, we go to wherever, we'll still be relevant. If I change this name to a corporate name, I'm competing with Takealong. I'm competing with Uber directly. But now they do not see me like that. They see me small. And I like that small because fintech now, our fintech makes transaction per minute, per second. And you're not seeing it because it's Spaza Eats. So I'm running now like the Indian community. You don't know the name, it's A.A. Mahomet, but the business makes money. And I'm aware of that. So we do not have to be known for like a corporate, like a Takealong. But one day I will sit down and say, do you know how much we're making? We're making about 10 billion. Those guys are making 20 billion. So that's when it will click to everyone that this is the competitive business. So I think that is a good entrance because also we just partnered with NetBank. I know I've talked about T-Triple-P and us being a fintech, but now we are partnering with NetBank on the POS machines, and we are distributing 5,000 machines. Think of 5,000 machines, each machine making 3,000 a day.
This is quite fascinating for me, and I want to drill down into why we haven't built for the township yet. And this is the segment that you are now building to own, townships.
Yes.
And we often consider the township as an informal economy.
Yes.
As though there is a high
proper trade. It's bigger than any. It's bigger than ShopRite township economy. It's bigger than ShopRite Checkers. 200 billion market.
Why is it taking us so long to really get that we can actually build for
the people who are from the township? They don't know the value of the township. The people who are from outside, they know the value, but they don't know how to enter. Who should do it? Us who are from there. But we need to be aware of what it is. ShopRite called us ShopRite Money Market. Let me tell you, ShopRite is the most arrogant retail company. They are number one. No one is on their level. Everyone is here and they are here.
in terms of arrogance.
Yes, even on numbers. But for them to call you shouldn't tell you. You are taking something from what they know. So that collaboration, wherever we're going to take it, is because you are relevant in what you're doing. The people who stay in the township, they do not understand the value of it. And they think it's just a Spaza shop. The Spaza shop is making 200,000. The Spaza shop is making 100,000. You can graduate and go run a Spaza shop, 2-3. If you own 2-3, you're making 300,000.
You know, what I'm really struggling with is why has it taken us so long?
Awareness. And okay, so a lot of people are leaving, but they are not alive yet.
Talk a bit about that.
You see, so that's where it goes deep, because then I speak, then they say it's mad, because people are not aware what I'm saying. Then they start calling me names. But I wish you guys are the most potential people right now. You are the guys who have the most ability to do what it takes. And I'm giving you codes. You just have to understand the codes. And some of them you might not understand what I'm saying now. Maybe in 3 months it will hit you. But I speak in spiritual language. So I feel like, I don't know, should I go deep?
Let's go. Talk to them.
different religion, but all religion are taking you to one place, which is God level, Allah level, God level. According to the way I understand now, me being in Egypt, me being in Ethiopia where things started and all, God is within. And all of us are a walking universe. We are a walking universe of creators. We've got the ability to create just like Steve Jobs, just like everyone else. But not all of us are operating on a highest level of consciousness. When you see Yeshua or Prophet Muhammad and others, those guys were living in the highest level of consciousness, in a 5th dimension, where when they speak something, it comes to pass. When they say it, it's done. But they were speaking in a language that a lot of people, I think Aramaic, Yeshua used to speak Aramaic. They were speaking the language, but people were not understanding what it means. That's why they were speaking in parables. It's the same now. I can be saying what I'm saying, but a lot of people do not. They think they are thinking in their own world of their dimension. What I'm saying is, a lot of answers are there, close to you. You see them, but you do not have awareness to know that you are the called one to start running it. That is the difference. So it's like you are waiting for someone to come and do it, because even the religion taught you someone with white hair is going to come and help you. What Yeshua was saying was rise from within, rise from inside out, and reach your highest level of consciousness so you can see. And when you start seeing, you will know your assignment. And your assignment can come in different ways. The assignments we have, they are not the same. That's why you can't compare yourself with anyone else. You have to see yourself from within. And the reason why people haven't started solving the problems in the township, they are not operating on the highest level of consciousness. They are operating on the 3rd dimension, where it's just you live by sight, not by faith. Faith is being able to see, to believe in what hasn't transpired yet, but you see it as if it is, and you start living as if it is. When I'm living, I already know my future. You don't have to tell me. You guys don't have to clap for me. I'm a bank. I'm telling you. I've been saying I'm a bank since I was 5th grade. So people didn't have to believe in me. I truly, I was aware. And somehow I got an awakening when I was young. That's the difference.
Consciousness to create.
Yes.
Now, I'm tempted to take this conversation, but I'll try. So, suppose you have this awareness, and you have an idea of how this ultimately plays out. How do you then take this
Yes.
consciousness, the awareness,
Yes.
right? Whether it's in terms of the solutions that you think you can be able to provide,
Yes.
or whether you think of the change that you think you can be able to make.
Yes.
How do you bring
How do you get there?
to the level to then implement or to create that consciousness to create?
Yes. Okay, so we are all walking universe. We are all the fact that you exist and you are alive, you are a walking highest power. But some of the codes, you haven't accessed them because you haven't lived that yet. When you start, to answer you, you have to start with what you have now. What do you see around you? Start there. That's not where you are ending. When you are doing that, you will unlock code 1. Code 1 might be that, now you are making 10,000, now you are making 5,000. That 5,000 might help you to unlock code 2. Code 2 might be you starting to make 50,000. But you will never know code 2 if you don't start. You only know code 1 when you are in it. I don't know if that makes sense. When you are in it and you are failing, let me tell you, the university, you don't have to fail. In this, what I'm talking about, you learn by failing. It's like you are a nut, and the sweet spot is inside, but you need to be broke. You need to be broken. And for you to be broken, you need to be walking around the fire. And that fire will be sad, will be bad, you will be broke. People will laugh at you. That's when you are getting crushed. But when you get crushed, you will reach code 2. Code 2 might be that, 10,000 was good, but that's not me. I want to start making 100,000. And I've realized that now that I'm staying around here in Auckland Park, I'll be able to reach people who are around. Then you start meeting newbies. That's when a person starts a new startup. The new startup is around 2 years. The new startup is because you have realized that, hey, that one can't go, that vehicle can't take me to a certain level. Now you adopt new startup. That's why every time when I look at a startup, if it's your first time, I can't partner. You haven't walked the journey. When you are second one, I know you're gonna make about 100,000, 300,000. Maybe it's not there. I need you on your third one. Because your third one, probably you've got a business that makes about 1 million. And that's where now a lot of businesses, they start making progress around their third business and around 4 or 5 years of existing. And that's because they have been crushed. Does that make sense? And that time now you reach your code 3, code 4, where everything is possible.
The necessity of suffering.
You have to fail. And you have to fail. You have to fail to win. But remember that these are different games. Here, the game of here, to pass this game, you have to pass. To graduate to a different game. The game that I'm talking about, I have passed in university. So I'm not talking to you that I dropped out, I didn't drop out. I have finished that quadrant. But the quadrant that I'm talking about now, you have to fail to win. You have to be crushed. Your parents are not coming from business. So how do you think you're gonna figure it out? The people who figure this thing out once go is because at home, they are trained from 2 years that this is what you should do. You were not taught this, so accept it and run with what you have. That's why a lot of successful people, you see them from their 30s, is because they had to go through the journey.
Every level has its own suffering.
Yes. Just like a game. We are in a game, it's a simulation. The only way to get to stage 3, you have to walk stage 1. You might understand my stage 3 and what I'm going through now, but to get to this, let me give you a perspective. When I used to work in corporate. I used to earn 45,000. To quit a job and now have people earning the same as that, it's a different shift. You have to forego. Let me tell you, when you guys start working, you realize 5,000 is a lot of money. And when you have a car, 5,000. What I'm trying to say is that you have to reach a level where 5,000 is not as important. And you can give it to someone and not feel anything. Okay, you guys are there. Let me tell you, when someone says, when I was earning 45,000, that was my everything. I had a fridge, I had a car, I had a house, I had a car. It was important. Now, how do you get to a level where you've got more people working with you, earning that, and you don't feel like something is wrong? There's transformation in your mind.
The top of every mountain is the bottom of the story.
Absolutely. And that's why Jay-Z says, may the best of your today be the worst of your tomorrow. The today's mountain might look like it's big. Yes, it is big for today, and we appreciate the present. But it's definitely not my best to tomorrow. I'm striving for something. And my best today might look like a downfall to someone, but my best today does not define my future mountain. Maybe it's just a build-up of steps to a bigger mountain. That's why I should not compare myself with anyone. I should not have an evil eye on what someone has. I must always look at myself from within and what God has given me. We are all given talents. And your talent can only give you, you know when they say your gift shall make a room for you? Your gift, your talent is the only one that will make reward for you. But if you don't exercise your talent, how else are you gonna know that you were gifted? You're doing the same thing as everyone. You need to use the knowledge you acquire here to apply it on your gift. And when you find your gift, you have to multiply by learning different things. That's why they say learning doesn't stop.
Okay, so now I'm gonna try and bring it back now. I think something that I've heard often is just how much at a certain level within African entrepreneurship, there is no collaboration.
Yes.
So you have your thing, your small business is doing,
Yes.
let's say 5,000 rands per month.
Yes.
The other person also has a thing that's doing like 2,000 rands per month.
Yes.
Why is it that we don't collaborate enough by seeing the great opportunity that can come as a result of us pulling our resources together? Because I mean, sometimes we are focused on different verticals, so it's not necessarily that we're competing against each other.
Yes.
Like, we're doing different
We
things.
just do not collaborate. Yeah. I love that question because that is the answer of why I'm here. That is the main question. Guys, listen to me. I'm not your answer, but I've got codes for somehow to understand your questions that you have in time. Somehow there was someone who created this system that you are living in now. And that system is not your reality. It's not your truth, but it's your reality, if that makes sense. The fact that you grew up in survival mode does not mean that that's the end. The system that we are living in Africa, it's a survival system. It's based on eating today. Eating today. And when you are on the survival, you do not think of the next man. You think of self. You think of eating. Even in business is the same. We operate businesses on survival mode. That's why they call it basic survivalism. Anyone in business? You've heard of the term basic survival?
African trade agreement really struggles to work.
1000%.
If the US is going to come and they see the minerals that are in SA, now we really
Yes.
rich minerally across
Yes.
the continent.
Yes.
If we were to pull these things together and act as a single block,
There's no continent, like I said, rich like Africa. Do you guys hear me? There's no continent as rich as Africa. The reason why they have to present it as a poor country is that you do not know. You should not reach your awareness so that we can keep exploiting you. And we will keep exploiting you by country. When you see the chief soldier from US saying, we need to help Burkina Faso. No, Burkina Faso's got so many minerals. Doesn't need your help. But they need to go there so they can barricade, they can own the country. Muammar Gaddafi, my man, the guy was saying that we need one currency, one economy, one trade. That is a threat to us as US. We have to get rid of him.
you know, this envy then that we have for each other, because if you see someone else eating, your assumption is that they're taking food from your plate.
1000%.
And they're not.
It shouldn't be like, let me tell you, it's a competitive advantage. When you are in Ghana, they are big on rice, big on cocoa. Do you guys have cocoa here? When you're in DRC, Kinshasa, the guys are big with minerals. In fact, DRC is the Garden of Eden. Okay, so you don't have to believe in everything I'm saying, but I'm the spiritual guy. So DRC have got, bro, the phones we're using, the cars you see, the minerals come from DRC. They have to make them not aware of themselves so they can keep mining. If Africa was united in one place, one unity, this is the biggest continent, biggest trader, biggest exporter, and we would be the biggest. So, but that's why the wars would start. So that is the same with individualism. You guys still operate the same way. If you see a guy from Malawi, it's like, yeah, I don't like him. Why? Then you see a guy from US, you're like, this is my friend. It's a presentation to hate self. And that is why you can't grow. You would think that you associating with someone from outside the continent makes you powerful. That's why they say together you stand as a family and divided you fall. I truly believe that Africa is one. That's why when I'm in Rwanda, no one see me as an outsider. I'm the same person. When I'm in Gaborone, I'm in the same person. So we need to think of it that way, and we need to collaborate.
Quickly back to Spaza Eats, and then we're going to do a couple of questions with the audience. The first one, how are you building it so that you can be able to maintain a customer within the ecosystem? So say you have a customer that's using Spaza Eats to buy food, they can then also utilize the rest of your services. How do you build it in such a way that someone stays within
the ecosystem? Yeah. So the advantage is that everyone is coming into this system. You are able to communicate with them through push notification, SMS, emails, and also they can see we've got some communications happening there where there's banners, where there's partnership with Coca-Cola and others that gets you to see different things. We have to improve our communication internally on the app and also outside. That's why we have to reach out. That's why you see me doing podcasts, things like this, to reach out and talk more. But the ecosystem we have allows us to communicate more what we have. And you grow with it, And we don't know how far we'll go, but it's so far so good, we grow.
And you are currently raising for Spaza Eats, what are some of the challenges that you're currently facing, particularly raising on the continent?
Yes, so we were, I don't know if I should name drop, but we were raising 30 million. And the question is always, how best are you compared to Uber Eats, Mr. D, what. And that is the problem, because you shouldn't be comparing this ecosystem with any of them. Trust it for what it is. The fact that we've grown it to be where it is and it's black owned and we did it with our muscle, is this not enough for you to see that it's an operating system? But the same people that I'm sitting with, they are brainwashed. So I'm talking to somebody who doesn't believe in Africa, believes in outside. So I just look at them and I see, remember, I'm working in alignment. I'm aware of myself and I'm aware of who I am. And because of this, I can see if you are not attached or connected to what you're doing. It's easy. I'm living in it. I'm not acting it. I'm him. So because I'm him, it's easy for me to see the right person and the wrong. Most investment people are people who are given money to fund. They are not creators, so they do not see in startups. So because of that, a lot of people from here, they either invest on startups that are already. Let me tell you about some insurance companies that you see now emerging. They are exactly a duplicate of what a big insurance company is. They give them a product and then they come. There was no innovation. And then these guys, they want to fund that because it makes sense to them. That's what they understand. But new innovations like Spaza Eats is still foreign to them. That's why I can go to Dubai and get more investment interest than here. So people here, I don't know. Right at this point, if you had me on my pod on this Caesar, I'm not convinced that they will either fund any of you guys as future innovators here, and to be honest. And to be fair, I do not think you have got a government that is backing you, because the government that is supposed to back you, they are trying to eat from an international company. When I go to policies, they invite me to policies. When I'm in the policy making, we're building a structure for policies for the country for e-commerce. 9 out of 10, it's e-commerce platform from our side. What do you expect me to say? I want to say that let's increase tariffs. Do you think who's going to agree with me in that table? That's the problem. Who's going to agree with me? And that's why we can't increase tariffs. That's why Donald Trump can say tariffs and you can't. On e-commerce, on vehicles, let me tell you, these companies that you see that I'm trying to compete with, they are making 300 billion a year. 300 billion is what Transnet used to make with over 10,000 employees. These companies that are making 3 billion a year, how many employees are they hiring? How many people from here they are creating? That is what you should be thinking about. Because it's not that there's no money here. The economics is moving. It's that the money is moving to outside. There's someone who came with their product from outside and convinced your political leaders to create a partnership. And that's why you can't remove it.
The two final ones. What is the biggest entrepreneurship challenge or problem we have in the country and the continent?
Money is. It's the money problem. When you look at the China economy, I've got Chinese friends, and I used to have this friend of mine who was being funded by his Chinese government to do mining in Africa. And I helped him back in the days to say, let's set up here, let's go to what. I've got friends now that I used to study with now in the US, they've got green cards now. In America, any startup, whether it's in the Silicon Valley and that startup was funded by government or by people in the top level. When you look at Elon, all Elon solutions, they are government-oriented solutions. There's no SpaceX without government.
Yeah, because they need the NASA contracts.
Yes, well, there's no Tesla after that if it was not funded. Then which startup here has been funded by government that you can tell me?
We have no idea what anyway.
We are funding things that are not going anywhere, and they are not going to bring any jobs. And in fact, we are funding the same international companies, to be fair.
This is a very nice conversation for me, and I do want to expand it a little bit more. But my final question, perhaps, if you were a student back at university or college, how would you be thinking about starting a business, and what industries would you be thinking about?
I'll be thinking e-commerce. I'll be thinking anything technology. and I would be thinking of integration. So I do not have to invent everything new. I just need to create something that plugs into what is already existing. And I just need to present it in a way that in the future, I will get a contract. The same way we did with Spaza Eats and NetBank. It might not be powerful now, but in the future, it's a big power. Because I have a bank within a bank, if that makes sense. Within our merchant bank, we can issue bank cards. And only very soon then people will realize that these guys are a bank within a bank. But to be able to get that, you need to build a solution that is innovative, and then you plug into them. And you don't have to start everything scratch because you don't have resources. But if you plug in and it works, you are in. Like now we're talking to ShopRite Money Market. If those vouchers, is those wallets, is those money transfer, if that works, it's an integration. You're not renovating anything. You're not innovating. You're just plugging in with the new ways. And the reason why e-commerce and technology is that's where the investments are going. Might not be going there now in the country or in the continent, but when you go outside, when you're in Dubai, and you're presenting that type of solution, they are interested. Because those are the platforms that are easily integrated. I'll think of technology, I'll think of green technology, whether it's green vehicles, green what. I'll think of drones, drone farming, drone security. I'll think of, drone security is big. The estates, some of them are big. You go there and present your security company that has got drones. Then you tell them, no, we are not going to have people walking around. We're going to have drones watching over your estates. And all we need is you guys to pay us 300,000.
Now, for someone who might be thinking, this is too high level, or perhaps I would have the resources to start.
Yes.
What would you advise me?
So, and you might not have investment, but remember that ideas are important, but they're also not that important. What I mean by that is, you having an idea is not enough. You need to build on it. But when you're building on it, you might need collaboration. You might need to partner with someone. And partnering with someone, they have to have a competitive advantage than what you have. If you've got an idea, partner with someone with money. You know what I mean? Find a way to get started. And when you get started, that's when it will start making sense enough to present it to a corporate company. For us, we had to build analytics first to fund this thing. Do you know how much it costs to run this thing? That's why we're running out. And only now we're starting to, but I lost a lot of money trying to build this thing that doesn't take shape. You need to take a shape with money. But only now that we have did our best, and that's when banks are looking at it, that's when retailers. So whatever you have as an idea, it will only emerge when you have financial capital, idea capital, human resource capital to get it somewhere.